Hello, and welcome back to the Calm and Connected podcast. I'm your host, Janine Halloran, and today we're going to be talking about mindfulness and a way that you can introduce mindfulness in a fun and delicious way. So there's a lot of research about the positive impact that mindfulness can have for us, and one of the pieces of research that I've read is how the mindfulness practice can shrink the amygdala, which is the part of the brain that's responsible for fight, flight, or freeze. So that's really powerful stuff, right? But I will be honest and say that it was hard for me as a person to slow down and try this practice for myself. I find a lot of times my brain goes really fast and it's hard for me to stop and pause and take a breath and have that mindful moment. But I went to a conference and part of our afternoon activity was to take a few mindful bites of blackberries and to have some chocolate. And this was the inspiration for me to include mindful bites of food in the Coping Skills for Kids Workbook. I found it really helpful to have those moments to slow down and eat in a mindful way, and that was a nice introduction for me to start mindfulness. And I was really kind of inspired by it. So it was really cool because I was able to finally slow down enough to be able to focus and take those mindful bites of food. And I wanted to make sure that that was included in the Coping Skills for Kids workbook. So in the workbook, I use a blackberry as an example, and it's written in a way that you can use it with your client, your child, your students. And so I wanted to just read how the script normally would go that you can use and you can modify depending on what you're using and what you're eating with the client or child you have in front of you so that you get an idea of how to do this. So here we go. Anytime you have a snack, you can eat it in a mindful way. Let's use a blackberry as an example. Before you do anything, take a moment and look at your blackberry. Notice all of the details about your blackberry. Think about what your blackberry may have looked like growing on the vine, on the farm, in the sun. Next, take a moment and sniff it. Does it have a strong scent or a faint scent? After that, place it in your mouth, but don't chew and swallow it quickly. Notice how the berry feels in your mouth. Chew it several times, paying attention to the sensations and tastes. What changes as you chew? Once you have chewed it thoroughly and you are ready, swallow the blackberry. You can do this with any snack or sweet treat. Try it with a piece of chocolate or a potato chip. See what you notice about these foods that you didn't notice before. So again, it's a pretty simple kind of strategy that you can use, just really helping kids slow down and focus on the sensations, using their senses as they're looking at the food before they take a bite of it. So over COVID, when I wasn't able to see clients in person, I wanted to work on some strategies, and I came up with the idea of doing mindful bites of chocolate. So what I did was I sent my clients little sort of care packages, and I included a couple of chocolate truffles in those packages. And so when they received the package, I timed it so that they got the package before our next meeting. And I told them, have the box ready when we sit down and we're at our Zoom appointment. So we did this mindful bite activity together. So I sent them 2 truffles, and the first truffle we ate normally, no mindfulness at all. Just, we're eating, we're having a fun time. Let's have a chocolate truffle. Then I said, we're going to do a mindful activity with the second truffle. So we looked at the truffle, we heard the crinkle of the paper and the wrapping around it, we sniffed it, and then we took mindful bites of the chocolate together. And then after we had done that, we discussed what we noticed, what we liked, what we didn't like, different sort of sensations that we had, and comparing eating mindfully versus eating the truffle in a normal way. And they said that, a lot of times when you're eating it mindfully, you got a lot more chocolate flavor. And one kid even said, I need to go get some milk. It's a lot of chocolatey flavor that I wasn't getting before. So it was a really interesting kind of strategy to use. And it was fun because we were able to do it remotely. So it was a fun activity, and I've done it in person with kids as well, but it was I was trying to find some different things that we could do remotely, and that was one of the most successful activities I did over COVID with my clients. So I hope this inspires you for finding some ways to introduce mindfulness to kids or even to give it a try yourself. If you like this podcast, please feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. And as always, don't forget about yourself. Take a few minutes, have a little fun, and have an awesome day.